It's 2026. Walk through Sandbach, Cheshire. You'll find nothing. No factory, no trucks, no Foden. Fast forward back 170 years to 1856. Sandbach was home to one of Britain's greatest engineering names, Foden. They built steam wagons that won trials, diesel trucks that changed haulage, vehicles trusted across the world. 150 years of truck manufacturing gone, finished, dead. This is the dark reality of Foden trucks today. In 1856, Edwin Foden became an apprentice, agricultural equipment, plant and Hancock Company in Elworth near Sandbach. He left for Crewe Railway Works, learned engineering, returned at 19, became a partner by 25. In 1887, the company became Edwin Foden, Sons and Company Limited. They built massive industrial engines, small stationary steam engines, agricultural traction engines. From 1880, Edwin's great innovation was the compound steam engine. Practical, highly efficient, it gave Foden a marketing advantage that lasted decades. In 1901, Foden entered the War Office trials. Their 3-ton steam wagon competed against Thornycroft. The Foden was faster, more economical, consistently better over arduous road trials, but they placed second. Thornycroft supposedly had better off-road performance. Most commentators called Foden the clear winner, but second place stood. That 1901 design became the basis for 30 years of successful vehicles. Foden's steam lorries dominated British haulage, overtype wagons, undertypes from the late 1920s. The company supplied its final steam wagon in 1934. By 1930, Edwin Richard Foden could see the future. Diesel power, not steam. The Foden board disagreed. Steam was traditional. Steam was Foden. They refused to change. In late 1932, Edwin Richard resigned, following several years of bitter arguments with the board, especially with his stepmother, who held most shares. He'd spent his entire working life at Foden. His son Dennis couldn't afford to resign. Dennis Foden, George Falconer, and Ernest Sherratt started a new company with financial input from across the family. They persuaded Edwin Richard to come out of retirement. The new company became ERF, Edwin Richard Foden. From his initials, ERF built their first diesel lorry in 1933. 2 years after Foden finally introduced the Foden phone in 1931, regarded as the first commercially successful diesel lorry in Britain, ERF in Sandbach, Foden in Sandbach. Brothers competing against each other, both building trucks in the same town. Post-war saw Foden enter the bus chassis market in 1946. By 1950, they developed a rear-engined model, 7 years before Leyland's Atlantean. In 1948, completely new FE and FG lorry ranges launched, along with the Foden FD6 two-stroke diesel engine. This became standard for certain heavy models. In 1958, Foden introduced glass-reinforced plastic for cab production. This led to the first British-built mass-produced tilting cab in 1962. The S21 model had a distinctively styled GRP cab. The press called it Spaceship, Sputnik, but drivers nicknamed it Mickey Mouse. That name stuck. In 1964, construction and use regulations changed. They favoured articulated vehicles over rigid designs. Foden introduced new models to compete in the 32-ton market. December 1974, Foden ran into financial difficulty. Harold Wilson's Labour government provided support. Government money kept them alive. It took until 1977 to 1978 before Foden returned to reasonable profitability. Large Ministry of Defence contracts helped. Military vehicles, government orders. That's what saved them. Strikes, stoppages, workforce protests. The first half of the financial year showed a pre-tax loss of £1.7 million. Even as sales revenue rose from £23 million to £28.5 million. These pressures broke the company. July 1980, Foden entered receivership. The workforce shrank from 1,950 employees to 350, approximately 1,600 jobs lost. Truck production temporarily suspended. Bus manufacturing continued on a limited scale. Asset sales followed. Parts of the Sandbach facility sold off to liquidate holdings. Vehicle registrations fell to 535 units in 1981. The collapse ended Foden's era as an independent British manufacturer. Engineers couldn't find other employment. The potteries to the south had lost jobs. Crew to the north faced increasing problems. Unemployment there went from 4% in March 1980 to 8.3% by March 1981. Men in their 50s believed they would never work again. An atmosphere of Great Depression settled over Sandbach. In 1980, American firm Paccar acquired Foden's assets for $39,875,000. Paccar owned Kenworth and Peterbilt in America. They saw opportunity in Europe. Foden gave them a foothold in the British heavy-duty truck market. The new company was called Sandbach Engineering, later renamed Foden Trucks, a division of Paccar UK. They found just one Foden lorry being made in the plant. The factory equipment was admired, but production methods required complete reorganization. By 1986, Foden employed a workforce of 450, compared to around 3,000 at the high point. The company specialized in highly customizable trucks. Any paint, any drivetrain, split windscreen Kenworth C500 oilfield trucks built in small numbers. But Foden was no longer independent, no longer British. An American company owned everything. In 1996, Paccar acquired DAF Trucks. In 1998, Paccar purchased Leyland Trucks for $283 million in sales. After the Leyland takeover, independent Foden production ceased, replaced by models of DAF trucks rebadged as Fodens. In 1999, Foden manufacturing moved from Sandbach to the Leyland Trucks plant in Lancashire. Approximately 265 employees affected, 150 retained in sales and administrative roles at Sandbach. The factory that built trucks for over a century no longer built trucks. Niche markets for specialized, rigid, and tractor units. Sales declining. The rebadged lineup competed internally within Paccar's portfolio. June 2005, Paccar announced the retirement of the Foden mark. Production would cease in 2006. The reason given, Foden production would be terminated to release manufacturing capacity at Leyland Trucks, to allow for increased volume of DAF brand trucks. Foden died to make room for more DAF production from July 2006. The last Foden rolled off the production line at Leyland, an 8x4 rigid, delivered to the nearby British Commercial Vehicle Museum. 150 years of Foden truck manufacturing. Finished. The museum is where dead brands go. AEC, ERF, Guy, Atkinson, Scammell, all on display, all dead. Now Foden joined them. That final Foden wasn't even built in Sandbach. It was built at Leyland, in Lancashire. Not Cheshire, not home. The special chassis number was 914150. Some customers received the last retail Fodens, 2 trucks with the final consecutive chassis numbers. They bought pieces of history, the end of an era, the death of a brand. It's 2026, 20 years since the last Foden. Visit Sandbach today. Try to find Foden, you won't. The factory site where trucks were built for over a century, gone, redeveloped. No physical evidence remains of what was once there. The Greenfield site, developed in the early 1970s, other uses now, not trucks, ERF, lasted longer. Their factory moved to Middlewich in 2000, but ERF closed in 2002. MAN discontinued the brand in 2007. Both Foden and ERF, brothers competing in Sandbach for decades, both finished, both gone, both forgotten by everyone except enthusiasts. There are old Fodens still running. Preservation societies, enthusiast groups, vintage rallies, steam wagons from the 1900s, diesel trucks from the 1960s and 1970s, S21 Mickey Mouse cabs, S20 traditional cabs, 8-wheelers, 6-wheelers, tippers, flatbeds. They appear at shows, polished, restored, loved by their owners, reminders of what British engineering once built, but they're museum pieces, nostalgia, history, not the future, not production, not business. Foden trucks exist only in the past. They don't exist in 2026. They won't exist in 2027. They'll never exist again. The company that started in 1856 ended in 2006, 150 years, 7 generations, all finished. Paccar killed Foden to make room for DAF production. DAF is Dutch, owned by American Paccar, built at Leyland in Lancashire. The factory where Fodens were built for generations builds nothing truck-related today. The workers who built Fodens are retired or dead, or working elsewhere. The skills that built compound steam engines, the knowledge that created the first commercially successful diesel lorry, the engineering that developed the first British mass-produced tilting cab, all lost. Young people in Sandbach don't know Foden built trucks. They don't know their town was once famous for engineering. They don't know thousands of people once earned good livings. Foden is history, not current events, not news, not relevant. The British truck industry followed the same pattern everywhere. Foden died the same death as AEC, as Guy, as Scammell, as Atkinson, as all the British truck manufacturers. Corporate decisions killed them. Market forces killed them. Inferior products killed them. They deserved to die. Foden's story teaches a simple lesson. Tradition doesn't protect you. History doesn't save you. A famous name means nothing if the product is wrong. Foden built great trucks in the 1900s, great trucks in the 1930s, great trucks in the 1960s. But by the 1970s, they couldn't compete. Financial difficulty, government bailouts, receivership, takeover. That's the sequence of failure. Paccar gave Foden 26 more years, but those were borrowed years. American ownership, Dutch rebadging, Leyland production, not real Foden years, just delay, delay. Postponement of the inevitable. The last Foden in July 2006 was really just making official what had been true since 1998. Foden was already dead. They just hadn't buried it yet. The dark reality of Foden trucks today is simple. They don't exist. No factory, no production, no workers, no trucks, no brand, nothing. Sandbach lost its most famous company, its biggest employer, its identity. The town that built trucks for the world now builds nothing. ERF went the same way. The Foden family's two companies. Both started because of arguments over diesel versus steam. Both competed for decades in the same town. Both dead now. That's British truck manufacturing. A graveyard of famous names. A museum of dead brands. A history of failure. Foden Trucks today exists only in preservation societies, in museums, in old photographs, in memories of older drivers who remember real Fodens. For everyone else, Foden is nothing. An unknown name, a forgotten brand, a piece of history nobody cares about. The dark reality is that British truck manufacturing is dead, permanently dead. And Foden is one more corpse in the pile. 150 years of engineering excellence, innovation, quality, tradition, gone. That's the dark reality of Foden trucks today.